Hi guys, I'm Christine. I'm a senior computer engineering major, and this is the first of my video series for my senior design solo project. So, in the beginning of the semester, our professor asked us to turn in our grades, our completed classes, and our industry experience. And from there, he will determine which will be our senior design solo project. Our school uses two projects for ECE majors, the group and the solo. And the group project is something cool that you could pick yourself and you work with friends and stuff. It's really fun. Anyway, so the assignments can range from a speedometer, binary divider, to an op amp or a phase lock loop. And the one that my professor decided to give me was the analog to digital converter. At the time, I didn't really like it because I'm computer. I like digital and hardware and stuff, and I really, really did not like my linear systems class. Um, Not that the teacher was bad or anything; she was great. I just did not like the material. Um, but after doing research and stuff and started working on it, it's pretty fun. So the specs for my analog to digital converter. Um, The input frequency will have a maximum of 100 kilohertz, so I could use a function generator or something to generate that. The AD converter will be adaptive delta modulation type. So you're going to have your input signal come in, it'll go through a regular delta modulation, and then it will go through the adaptation, which I'm still in the process of researching how that exactly works. But from what I understand, it's like a feedback signal. And then it will output a binary signal. Um, the number of bits at the output will be 8, which is pretty small. I looked up AD converters online, and they go up pretty high. 8 is the smallest I've seen, which I guess makes sense because we're students and we don't have industry level technology. The device will be basically discrete, including the processor, which has to be digital. So from my understanding, I'm going to be using a processor. We have to make everything by hand, and as far as I know, we can't use any ICs or anything, and we can't use a breadboard. We have to solder everything and use a PCB. Anyway, the maximum error will be 1% at the output, which is pretty intimidating because in my electronics labs, our professor would give us 5% error tolerance, and that was pretty frustrating to try to get. The packaging will be 5 by 5 by 3 inches. I have a friend who has a 3D printer, and he said if I buy the filaments and cartridges and stuff, I could use it. So yay! I'm gonna try to make different colors and stuff. Okay, so that's it for the specs. What have I done so far? I've done my research. Another professor of mine, I asked him for advice, and he directed me to this lab book from Auburn University. They have a delta modulation lab, and they also have an adaptive delta modulation lab, which when I read through it, I was like, oh, okay, I think I get it. But I'm still working on how to actually construct this thing. I also did a paper on the applications of digital signal processing. It turns out digital signal processing is everywhere. Um, Weather forecasting, seismology, finance, music, military, communications, obviously. Um, so various physical things like heat, wind, movement, voice, uh, even prices. Those are all recorded as analog signals, and then they go through the digital signal processing, which quantizes it and takes samples. An analog signal looks like this, but then you gotta digitize it because at fixed intervals because it's computer can't really read that. It only reads ones and zeros and stuff. Um, let's see. And then after doing research, I still have a lot more research to do, but we did our initial proposal. Uh, it was basically a PowerPoint to the general audience saying what your project is and why you should buy it. But up next I have my PDR, which is actually tomorrow. I have to have a built, not a built circuit, drawn out circuit. Doesn't have to be complete, but it just has to like have a basic block diagram and like a complete part of the circuit and SketchUps and stuff like that. So that's all I have for today. Thank you. If you have any advice or suggestions, I'd like to see it in the comments. Thank you.